today is the last of the Aluta Continua Samora Machel Liberarion Movements and the Unfinished Decolonial Project Symposium that's taking place at Rhodes University in Makhanda in South Africa's Eastern Cape province. Scholars, thinkers and Samora Machel's family members have been discussing what remains unfinished about Africa's Liberation Project. Well, the two-day meeting comes 40 years since the passing of Mozambique's first president and liberation icon. For more on this, we're now joined by Professor Siphokazi Magadla, the Dean of Faculty of Humanities at Rhodes University, joining us on the line. Prof, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your time. Give us a sense then in terms of how, the symposium has been over the past few days. I mean, the youth and women have been at the center of the discussions at the symposium. Just take us through those key issues and highlights that have been, brought to the surface in the conference.
Thank you so much, Unati. It's been an absolute thrilling 2 days. In fact, I'm sort of shaking now because as we were closing a session on women, memory and liberation, Mama Grasha Machel stood up just to remind the young people in the room about how long struggles take, to accept that the political struggle was imperfect and what we are facing now is an economic struggle and a social struggle. She says, there are still things that I, as the Grasha Machel, that is the legend that is known across this continent, there are still things that I shake about, I'm nervous about. And I know these figures, Machel and Mandela, they were not perfect as individuals because they were raised in a patriarchal society. Mm-hmm. And so we've had just a reminder about the importance of values, something beyond oneself, what it takes to unlearn that as Africans, we have been raised to mistrust each other, to mistrust ourselves. So the conversation earlier by Dr. Martha Akawa from Namibia, which took us back to the history of the Namibian genocide by the Germans, said to us, if we can't even name what happened in Namibia as a genocide, because what the Germans are saying now is that it is a genocide by the language of today. And we are saying, well, it was a genocide when it happened. It's not in how we understand it now. And even then, we were reminding ourselves that when we talk, for instance, of the Holocaust, the Jewish children born today know that history well, know what it meant to how it affected their people. And yet, South African students in our universities know little to absolutely nothing about the Namibian genocide. And that shapes who is valued in the world. It's not a matter of history, it shapes what happens today. So this is what we have been thinking through, Unati, that we need to be in one room. We know what needs to happen, the kind of emptiness that you feel. Young people say, we don't know what we know, and part of this is to say we still have these elders that lived these historical moments. Yeah. Let us use this time to do what Africans do, which is to tell stories. And these stories live a long life, and they help us to have the courage, to have the understanding of what we need to do to face our challenges that young people and all of us face today.
And importantly, yes, I would imagine documenting, not just telling the stories, but documenting them. So I understand a declaration will then be made and adopted at the end of the symposium. Talk us through how that would look like, particularly because, we've mentioned that the youth voice was important here. And so the question then remains, how is the story going to unfold? Is the Unfinished Liberation Project also about the quality of, democracy?
Absolutely. And so part of what has become clear to young people is that the political struggle was not in vain, and democracy is not something that we can we can say we don't need it anymore just because one can't afford fees. It's not an either or. You need to have access to education so that you can participate in university in a democratic environment. So it's really been an incredible joy to have 56 young people coming from Tanzania, from Mozambique, from Zimbabwe, from all the Eastern Cape universities and the University of the Western Cape to think together, for them to realize that many of the challenges that they face, they are the same, which means that they need a collective solution. So what that declaration that the young people are going to make, and we are here as their witnesses, is to hold each other accountable, to say we made this commitment to ourselves, because the phrase that has been used to remember Dada Machel is to remember him as the lion that did not wait. Mm-hmm. So the message of the symposium has been to say, young people, the future is not tomorrow, the future is now.
Yeah.
So you must declare the future that you want, so that we work together across these generations to make sure that we realize that future. So that is the importance of this declaration, that they paint the future that they want and hold each other accountable to ensuring that it is realized.
Absolutely. We look forward, to seeing that particular declaration and how it will unfold, especially when you look at just how young people are so desperate, to align to some of those liberation struggles, because they're also facing quite similar, struggles when you look at poverty, unemployment, inequality, and in some cases, weak public institutions. But Prof, do appreciate your time. Thank you so much for making the time to speak to us, Professor Siphokazi Magadla, the Dean of Faculty of Humanities at Rhodes University, joining us there to speak about the Aluta Continua, Samora Machel Liberarion Movements and the Unfinished Decolonial Project Symposium that's been taking place in the Eastern Cape province.
Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802.
All right, it is 12:30 Central Africa time, and we know what time that is. It's news time.
SABC News.